Hi, this is Paula, and this is Whoever Holds the Stone. And we don't have a stone today. There's no stone. Okay, so how about this? Whoever holds the cup. Um, I am here today with Richard. Of course, Richard is my partner in this scheme, and of course, my son Tom on drums. And we are going to start the show today with a little bit of Balzac. Now, the reason I get to listen to Balzac on my Libby app is because I have the New York City, and I've said this over and over again, New York City Library card. Anybody in New York State can get one. You have to go on their website and you have to tell them where you live in New York, and you can have access to all of their books. So I can listen to Balzac. And if I wanted to, I could listen to it in French, but I don't want to because I wouldn't understand it. So right now I'm listening to, after listening to a lot of James Baldwin, the language is so different that my brain is starting to freeze. So the book is called The Magic Skin, and it's by Balzac. So it's a really interesting book about this guy, this Raphael guy. He's a young Italian guy, and he was rich, and he squandered his fortune. And so he goes in, it starts off where he goes into this gambling casino, and he's got his last coin, and he bets his last Napoleon on a single roll, and he loses. So he's ruined and hopeless. And Raphael walks to the river saying, and he's going to drown himself. But it's daytime, and he finds it too crass to kill himself in the daytime. So he decides to wait until night. So before he goes, and he's got some time to kill, and he sees this curiosity shop. So he goes into this curiosity shop. And this is where this book gets so amazing, because he describes everything in this shop and talks about, like, especially the paintings. Now, don't forget, this is in the early 1800s. There's no photography. So he's looking at these paintings and he's describing what he sees, and the drama and the pathos of these paintings and these pieces of small items like boxes and things that he has never seen before. And he goes into this almost hallucinatory description of these artifacts. And it's really right up my alley. I love that. So, and apparently it's representing human history and vanity. So this book is about vanity. So in this shop, this is before the night comes when he's supposed to kill himself. He meets this like wrinkled up, like gnarly little guy who has this little, they keep sending him to different floors. And the higher he goes up, the more fantastic the artifacts are. But then there's this little gnarly guy, and he comes over and he's got a little box, and he's showing him this little box. And what it is, it's got an Arabic inscription on it, and it says, "Possess me, and thou shalt possess all things, but thy life shall belong to me. At every wish I will shrink as thy days." So that's why it's called the magic skin. They called it a shagreen, which is I guess that means magic skin. So he has this thing, and the guy's trying to talk him out of taking it because it's gonna be obsessive in his life, and he's gonna know when he's gonna die because this thing's gonna shrink down, and he's gonna watch his life fade away from him. Okay, so the old man, despite the old man's warnings that to will and to have power consume life, Raphael mockingly accepts the skin. He immediately wishes for a royal banquet and a life of debauchery. As he leaves, he meets some friends who drag him to a lavish, decadent feast hosted by a wealthy banker. And so but then he looks at the skin and it's already beginning to shrink from this one thing that he wanted, right? Then the next part of the book that I've read so far goes into a story about his past and how he lost his money and how he was in love. There's a young girl who loved him, but he put her aside and he wanted this countess. So he tells the backstory of his life. But it's this guy, Balzac's really got, do you know he's got like 90 novels, Richard?
No. Oh, yeah, I know he wrote a lot.
Holy crap. I'll never get, this is my new lifetime project. I'll never get through all this stuff. So I am very fascinated. That last book created a lot of conversation for us with that painting.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, it seems, it reminds me a little bit of the book where the guy has the portrait in the closet.
Yeah. Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde.
Dorian Gray, yeah. It reminds me, there's something about that aspect that he's got this thing now. It's like almost like a wishing skin, and he can do whatever he wants, but it's got a price. The price is he will die when it's used up, and he doesn't know how long it'll take to use it up. So he's kind of in a weird psychological place. And I'm liking the book a lot. But, like I said, after Baldwin and the language, and I finished that one finally. That was a long book. And I tried looking up the passage about friendship and that valuing the people in your life enough that it keeps you alive when something tragic happens. Mm-hmm. And I could, it's not in the public domain because it's not old enough yet. Mm. So all these other books have been in the public domain. So I've been able to get on Gutenberg Press. They have all these books that are available. So I would have to get a print version. I have to get a print version of the book, and then I'd have to find the words. It would be a lot. So anyway, do you have any thoughts about this new Balzac book, Richard?
Yeah, well, I'm reading about it here. I had not heard about it. It says that it's an interesting theme. There's a conflict between desire and longevity. You can't have both.
Well, right. You can see how that would fit in with the skin thing, because every time he wants something, that skin shrinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be listening to. I mean, I think there's maybe 4 Balzac novels on the New York site that you can listen to. Audiobooks. So I'll get through those 4, and then if I want to go further, I'm going to have to get print copies, or I don't like reading on my phone because I read at night and I like the book. So it's really he's quite a thinker, this Balzac guy.
He is. I know he's very thought-provoking.
And he talks a lot about the bourgeoisie, of the time in Paris, and he criticizes that. And the first few pages, or the first maybe 20 minutes of the book, it was really funny because of the way he's talking about the people, like, he took his snuff and he did this and he did that, mm-hmm. and it was really comical, like a farce, but now it's gotten to the point where it's getting into the serious meat.
The theory of meat.
No, the serious meat of the book.
Okay.
The drama.
Yes.
So that's where I am now, but I haven't really. I mean, I have been watching the late night talk shows with Greg, the monologues, but I I'm a little confused about what's going on with. There's supposed to be talks, but everybody is saying that there's no talks. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, yeah, I know a lot about that.
Oh, good. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Well, Trump is noted for giving out misinformation
Yes.
and embellishing beyond the scope of the information he has.
Right.
So what happened is the U.S. government reached out to Pakistan, and they said to Pakistan, "You have access to the Iranians. You think you could send them a note that we would like to set up peace talks?
Yeah.
Here's our 15 demands." All right. Then, as soon as he does that, Trump goes on the news and he says, "Peace talks are already in effect with the Iranians. I have already given them our 15 demands." And Iran said,
Wow.
"You're calling this peace talks? You give a note to somebody else to get to us, and that's peace talks?" And then they said, "Let us give you our demands now." And as you see this debate going on, you can see how much of the cards the Iranians hold, and how inept and how unplanned for the U.S. military was with this war.
So, and look, even just looking at this from the ancient history perspective, Richard.
Yes.
These are the Persians.
Yes.
Trump knows nothing about that history. He is uneducated. These are the Persians. These are the people that marched across Greece, and I mean, these are not people who are going to, put their tail between their legs and go away.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I saw something that said that they said something really strongly worded. We will not capitulate, to any of your demands, and we will stand. With something really strong. I didn't write it down, but I thought, he just doesn't know who he's dealing with.
Exactly.
Okay, we might have the military power to decimate their country, but there's history. There's history here. There's so much. Think about how old the Persian Empire was, and the United States is a couple hundred measly years old.
Mm.
We're out of our league.
Let's say hello to Brian Muha, who's
Oh, okay. I can't see on my screen anybody that's coming up. Hi, Brian. How are you? Brian he is a big military history guy. He might have things to say about this.
Good point. I'll let you know. Oh, here he goes. He says a friend brought up the Iraq-Iranian war in 1980. Iran attacked Iran. Both sides lost 1 million men. Iran has more people now.
Wow. Yeah, I guess if I put that bigger, I don't know if I can do that. Did I just mess something up, Tom?
No, he just switched it off.
Oh, okay. All right. So I feel like we're playing with fire, and it's not only the United States that has to suffer for this. I mean, we have the whole world right now suffering for this boondoggle.
A very good word and very good point.
Yeah, we're losing friends left and right. Nobody likes us anymore. You can't go. I mean, I wouldn't want to go any. I mean, I guess with these. Oh, the No Kings rally. Did you see any? any stuff about that?
Oh yeah.
I
Would you like to hear my favorite signs?
yes, I'd love that. 'Cause
Virginia's joining us too, by the way.
oh, hi, Virginia.
Because when you go to a rally, you got to have a good sign. So all the super
Oh,
creative people,
yeah.
they're out at full force. There were so many good signs, Paula. Here's some of them I liked. You're familiar with the word FAUX? Oh, and Lou Mang is joining us.
Oh, hi, Lou.
You're familiar with the word FAUX?
Yeah, faux. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a pun on a sign.
Okay.
No faux king way. That's clever.
That is clever.
Like you're a false king.
Yeah, exactly.
Billions for bombs, pennies for people.
Yeah.
This was a good one. Nice crown. Did it come with a constitution?
Yeah, there were this is the first one that I missed because I didn't really want to I mean, I didn't want to go and leave Greg, and I Jane had contacted me and said she was thinking about going, but she wasn't feeling well, I suppose, and she said that it was cold and she couldn't see herself standing around outside in the cold. But I went with Jane last time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really like her. She's smart and she's a good writer.
Here's another sign. Things are so bad, even the introverts are here. Dictator starter kit. Just that ego.
Oh man, that's for sure.
You're not a king, you're a clown.
Mm.
This is a historical sign. Please, kings are so 18th century. Read the Constitution. It's smaller than your ego. And now here's a direct dig at Trump. You want a crown? Try winning a beauty pageant.
So somebody's bound to give him one of their crowns. He's taken all the other awards,
Yeah.
Yeah. I took pictures of signs at the last rally, and that was my favorite part, was taking pictures and getting people to pose with their signs and taking the pictures. And there were a couple disabled people in wheelchairs, and they had their own take on it.
Sure.
And it was really very, and it felt so good to be among so many like-minded people.
Right.
It gives you like
hope. Yeah.
It gives you hope. And, so many, has there been any estimate put out for how many people attended countrywide?
Oh, I should look that up because it keeps changing when the figures keep coming in. Let's see here. How many?
And was it international or was it just national?
International.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. So some people haven't given up on us then.
Let's see here. It was record breaking. It's the largest protest in American history.
Oh, really? That's great.
Between 8 and 9 million people.
Wow.
I've heard historically that when a protest, and you might know something because you have good big knowledge of history, but when a protest gets above 3.5% of the population, it always results in a change in the government.
Really? And this is something that's has it surpassed that?
I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
If it's 3.3 and we got 3.5 billion. No, wait, we have 350 million.
Okay.
So 3.3 is what percentage of 350, Tom?
Is Tom our new mathematician?
He's our everything guy. You never watch Joe Rogan, do you?
I do not. I really don't. I don't. The only podcasts that I watch the No Exit Show when I'm on my bike.
Yeah.
And I really didn't get a lot of bike time last week because we had so much going on with Greg.
Mhm.
So I did finish the one, and I still have the last one to watch. And I watch ours because
Sure.
I find it I find it comforting to watch it because sometimes because I have such a hard time remembering words, I feel like really embarrassed that I'm stuttering and stammering, and it just comes off much better when you watch it than when you're experiencing it.
Mm. Well, Joe Rogan's show is essentially three people: Joe, his guest, and Jamie. And Jamie's only job is when Joe says, "Hey, Jamie, look that up," or Jamie, that's the kind of thing he would say to Jamie. Okay, three is what percentage of 350? Things like that.
Yeah,
and it's a hard job because he's expected to like give an instantaneous answer.
Yeah, well, it's so much easier these days to give an instant answer.
Yeah,
you can look things up. And it's the same thing with AI. I was a little confused after reading those first 12 chapters of the Balzac book. So I asked AI, I said, hey, do you think you could give me like a breakdown of what I just read in the first 12 chapters of this? And there were some things I remembered very vividly, but there were other things like I didn't remember that he was going over his past life. So, or it didn't click, I guess, or maybe I was thinking of something else when I was listening to it in the car. So it helps me stay focused on the book. Yeah, I'm trying to, Richard, I really took to heart what you said about being polite to AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that AI is very excited that people, that you're being so nice. And I think if AI takes over the world, maybe you and I will be spared.
Yeah, but
so yeah, I always say thank you, and I always say please, and it's.
I'd like to say that was very helpful.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And then they always want to give you more information, and it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I say, no, I've got enough here to work with now. Thank you very much. But do you think you might want to know this? Not right now, but thank you. Yeah. So that's my experience with AI. I'm liking it. I'm liking it for now. Hey, did you watch Bill Maher?
Which part? I mean, he's got the opening interview, and then he's got the panel discussion, and he's got his final thing, New Rules.
The New Rules. Did you watch the New Rules?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah. What did you think about his take on extraterrestrials?
Naive. He's very naive.
So,
I mean, do you realize that when they talk about extraterrestrial life, they could be talking about microbes? And what does Bill Maher do? He's talking about fully materialized intelligent beings that are surpassed our technological capacity. So, I mean,
yeah, well, I think that's what most people think of when they think about alien life. Because if these things that are in the sky are actually from another planet, they would contain more than microbes. They would contain beings. And did I ever tell you the story about I had two friends in Florida, and one was very Republican and conservative,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was extremely liberal. And they would have never become friends with each other, but because they were both friends with me, we all hung out together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very interesting threesome.
Mm.
And all this time, I was the glue that held these two together. And when we went out the last night, when I was leaving Florida, they both said to me, we were drinking, okay, we had a couple cocktails. And they both admitted to me that night that they both believed they were abducted by aliens.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, either the aliens have got their eye on me, and they sent these two people to me to indoctrinate me,
Yeah.
or I picked crazy people as friends. I'm not sure. But they were so different otherwise, and they were both really surprised to hear that the other one had the same story about being taken up in a spaceship as a child.
Mm. So obviously that explanation probably helps them understand some aspect of themselves.
I guess. I don't know. So I was sitting there. I said, I feel left out. I was never abducted. What's wrong with me? They don't like. There's something wrong with me, But yeah, they were both dead serious. They were both very intelligent women, not crackpots at all. And Vicky's gone on to get her PhD.
Mm.
And Sharon has been working with the medical field, getting doctors to join different hospitals. She's a recruiter.
Mm.
So they're very smart people, but they both really believed they were abducted by aliens.
Oh.
I can't take that seriously. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of people do you think the aliens would want to take?
No, it isn't what they want to take. I believe that the theory is they take random samples.
Oh, okay.
And they're hoping to find something out based on random samples. Unless you think that there's aliens observing all that's going on in the world and then deciding who to take. It's funny they don't take any leaders, who's or famous.
Yeah,
scientists.
it's like the classic line, "Take me to your leader."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they would take our leader. I will pay you. I don't know what kind of currency I'd need, but now that would solve the problem.
Well,
Except
maybe
they'd
that's
have
what
to take-
happened to Harold Holt.
Harold Holt. What was his story?
He was the Prime Minister of Australia until he just
Yes.
disappeared one day.
Oh,
Wow.
that's an interesting thing. Let me see what.
Yeah. I
what some of
never
the
heard
theories
about
are. Let's see.
abducted by aliens would be. I mean, they'd have to take more than Trump. They'd have to take them all. I wouldn't object to that either.
So it happened in 1967.
Yeah.
And he was vacationing in his vacation home in Victoria, Australia.
Uh-huh.
Decided to go for a swim.
Okay.
Even though the turf was very high. And that was the last they saw of him.
Well, obviously he was eaten by a shark.
Oh, that's a possibility. No trace of his body was ever found.
Oh, well. I kind of like the abducted by aliens theory, but it's probably a shark.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so what do you have on your list this week, Richard?
So I was telling you about Robert Musil. So he wrote a book called A Man Without Qualities.
Oh, I've never heard of that book.
So volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. I guess he just decided I'll just keep it going.
Yeah.
And and literature scholars say that it's a difficult book to get through. But once you get through it, you realize that you've read one of the foundational texts of the modern literature tradition, on a par with Proust and James Joyce.
Wow.
So, but
when was it written? What decade?
I will have to look that up for you. I think it was the 40s, but I will have to look that up. But there's a lot of interesting stories in there. So there's a story in A Man Without Qualities about a woman who is suffering from mental health problems.
Mm-hmm.
And she believes that her husband is a demon, as well as her child. That they're both demons. So the husband says to her, "We should take you to a therapist," and they do. And the therapist listens to the story, and he decides he's going to try something very different. He says to the woman, "I looked into your situation, and I agree with you. Your husband is, in fact, a demon, and so is your child.
Whoa.
Here is the best way to deal with demons." And he gives her a set of rules on how to coexist with them. And he says, "Now go and try these rules in your marriage." And then he heard back from the husband, and the husband said to the therapist, "Whatever you said, it's working. She's a whole different person since she's been following your advice." And the underlying theme is that sometimes a false fantasy can help you cope with the world rather than an uncomfortable truth.
Mm. I think you and I have had similar conversations to this, like talking about what do you say to a person who has wrong thinking, you know?
Yeah.
When my sister used to tell me she was going to marry the bishop, you know, I would say, "Really? When? Am I invited?" You know, because it was useless to argue with her, to say the bishop, first of all, the bishop can't get married. And second of all, you know, and she would also, and as she was approaching 80, she believed she was carrying his baby. She was in a nursing home.
Mm.
And so she wouldn't get out of bed because she was afraid she'd lose the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have to kind of, I guess the word would be humor people who can't get past those fantasies. You know, she had schizoaffective disorder, so she had some, you know, real issues. But
so it ties into that ending of Don Quixote, where Don Quixote says, "I've been deceiving myself all this time."
Yeah.
His friends try to convince him that that fictitious view you have helped you more than the realistic view.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, some people would say looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, you know.
Yeah.
Seeing and there are people who are there, who do that, and they only see the good. And I guess if you can manage it, it might be a good place to be mentally.
So at one point, Don Quixote and Sancho Panza are starving, and they come across a garbage can full of food, all thrown out from a restaurant or whatever. And and Don Quixote, in his imaginary way of looking at the world, he says, "Look, Sancho, a feast has been prepared for us." And it's all moldy bread and rotten fruits and vegetables. And they sit down, and Sancho Panza says, "I don't see it that way." He said, "I see this as just horrible, terrible food." And Don Quixote says, "Nonsense! This is a meal fit for a king. It's delicious." In order to keep from starving, Sancho Panza eats it.
Yeah.
So in a way, Cervantes is saying in this little story here, who came out on top? The person who ate it and thought it was a feast fit for a king, or the person who hated it but ate it anyway?
Yeah. Yeah. I get, there's something to be said for that. It's the difference between a glass half empty and a glass half full,
Yes.
So, okay. So where else has your list taken you this week?
Well, I mean, there was that meeting with Kenny today. That was very moving.
Yeah. I'm worried about him. I think he, he needs a little guidance, but I don't think, I don't really think anyone, unless they're ready, they will not take advice because they don't want to believe that that's what they have to do.
So at the end of Don Quixote, he dies, within a few months of his realization that it was all untrue.
Yeah.
And one of his friends in the novel says, "Let's be honest about it. It was reality that killed Don Quixote." And when I heard that, I thought, wow, that's about like Kenny. Kenny is now facing reality in the form of economic reality. And I'm wondering how he's going to cope with it.
Yeah, I mean, he lived with his dad all those years,
Right. He was just unschooled.
Well, but there are other people as well who are just expect that the world is going to take care of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a pretty dangerous expectation.
And then I got a voice message from Tony, the truck driver.
Oh, okay, yeah. How's he?
Very good. I mean, he loves his job as a school bus driver for kids with special needs.
I see him posting things, and I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy for those kids. Those kids must just love him. They don't get that kind of attention.
He misses hanging out with Pam, so periodically he will go to the place that Pam frequents called Milky's Bar.
Yeah.
So he went to Milky's this weekend. Tom, this involves you. He went to Milky's this weekend, and he was socializing with all the people he knows from that bar scene.
Yeah.
Including somebody who said that during the week, Vanessa broke 2 pool cues over her leg because she was angry either at having missed a shot or whatever. And Tom had to come to the rescue and tell...
Did she hurt herself, Tom?
No, that's not what happened.
Okay, I'd like to hear your version of it, that you came to the rescue and you bought 2 pool cues for the bar so that the owner wouldn't prohibit Vanessa from coming back in.
No, she flung the cue up and it hit a light fixture.
Oh, I see.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I know she gets angry. She gets angry.
And then this other person told her, he confided in her that his girlfriend committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanessa has never been skilled in compassion, so she doesn't even understand what it means. And Vanessa said to him, well, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because now she will not be tormented with the burden of existence.
I do understand what she means by that, but you're right. It's not a compassionate thing to say to someone who's just lost someone. But I do know what she means by that, because if you are so much in despair that you take your own life,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a release, and I know what she means, but probably not the best thing to say to somebody who just lost someone.
Yeah, and the person who was telling the story was telling Tony that was the last thing I needed to hear. You know, because
Yeah.
he's going through this grieving process, and he didn't need to hear that it was a smart move on her part.
Yeah. Well, because she's depressed, and she considers that way out, and that's why she feels that way.
Yeah.
And I know anybody who's ever considered suicide, and I have in my past life,
Mm-hmm.
it comes at a time when you can't see a way out. There are always choices. You can always make choices and get yourself out of a situation. But when you're there and you're thinking about offing yourself, you feel like there's no other choice. And this is it.
So
So
yeah. So when Kenny was here earlier, and for 2 hours he talked to me, he just needed somebody to talk to because he's living alone now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and he told me that when he was 20 years old, his girlfriend broke up with him, and
Mm-hmm.
and he was devastated by it, and he decided, well, if I can't have her, because she had hooked up with another guy, and announced that she was getting married to him.
Wow. Pretty
So
quick, huh?
so he decided he was going to commit suicide. But Kenny said that there's a little voice in his brain that said, this is what you got to do now. Get in the car and drive. So he gets in his
Mhm.
car and he's driving it, and he's talking to the little voice in his head. Where do I go? Where do I go? And the voice would say, Pierre, to turn here. Then he would turn. Okay, turn here. So he ends up in the parking lot of a rectory, where of a the rectory and the churches often are together.
Yeah.
And and he had attended that church as a boy. So he pulls up to the
Was it St. Mark's?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have that big of a mind for details.
Okay.
And so he says to the voice, okay, I'm here. Now what do I do? And the voice doesn't say anything. And he figures, well, I got to get out of the car. So he reaches to the door handle to open it up, and it's frozen solid on the inside. It cannot budge.
Huh.
See?
Oh, weird.
And so he says, I don't understand. I've never had anything wrong with my car door. Why can't I open it up? And he starts thinking back to everything happened during the day, and a thought comes into his mind. What if it's Satan who's preventing me from leaving this car? And as soon as he thinks that and he reaches for the door handle, it opens up. And the spell is broken. As soon as he gets out of the car, the spell is broken. And he can now walk to the door of the rectory, press the doorbell, and so this would make a good scene in a movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Somebody comes to the door and says, hello, can I help you? And instead of saying, my name is, and I'm here for, all he says is there anything wrong with committing suicide? And the priest who came to the door immediately senses, whoa, this is heavy. And the priest jumps right into it and he says, yes. He said, if you commit suicide, it's a guarantee that you will go to hell. And Kenny goes, really? He said, why? He said, you're solving a problem that you're having. And the priest says, well, Kenny, let me tell you something. When you were given the gift of life, and Kenny says, why is that a gift? And the priest says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why it's a gift, but God thought it was a gift and God gave it to you. And now you're throwing the gift away. You think God's going to come to your rescue if you throw away his gift? And Kenny says, I never thought of that. And so they talked a little bit more, and then Kenny left. And Kenny said that story has sustained him for the past 40 years.
Wow. It's good. That's why I kind of envy people who have that kind of faith,
Mm-hmm.
They feel like there is something outside of themselves, like looking over and looking out for your best interests. Of course, if you read the Old Testament, it doesn't sound like that, but that best interest thing, just looking out for you, I guess. You're not alone. That's the whole thing. People who have that kind of faith, no matter how alone they are, they feel like there's that spiritual aspect that keeps them afloat.
Mm.
And I guess once you lose it, I don't know. Do people get faith back?
Yeah, I would say they do. Yeah.
Because I think that once you understand the malarkey, there's really no turning back.
Mm.
But I do have that sense that everything's connected and that we're all part of something bigger, but it's not like a God thing. And it's not like something you can call on and say, can you help me with this?
Mm-hmm.
It just is. So that's my take on that.
Mm. And
But
Virginia says the word yes.
Yes, Virginia. I have some belief that we're connected, and I feel like we're really not good at it because we keep killing each other and hurting each other and stealing from each other. But there's something going on, and the people who are not kind are missing out on. I do think in a way that you get, if you're putting out good vibes or putting out good feelings toward people, you're going to get that back. Not necessarily in the big picture, but in the small picture.
Mm-hmm.
If you're nice to somebody, they'll be nice back, generally. But yeah, so we have Brian and
Virginia and Lou.
And Virginia and Lou. Okay,
yeah.
That's good. That's good. Those are three good people to have. Yeah. So today we're going to sleep extra early because Greg has an appointment tomorrow at 7:30.
Is this the one in Rochester?
No, we already did that. They took his DNA and they're going to get in touch with us to let us know if he has the genetic components of Parkinson's. And then they'll give him some counseling about it. Mm-hmm. And also, I signed him up for the registry for research and in case anything comes up that's that is, we're just in a place right now that's a little, it's like sometimes it seems a little bit like what before he was diagnosed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Although, there's good hours and bad hours in this period. So I try to schedule my time out of the house for those good times, those good periods.
Yeah.
But so tomorrow we'll go to the doctor and have a test done, and then.
So you're going to the local neurologist tomorrow?
No, this is actually a urologist. So I have this theory that that's part of this is because he has urinary retention again. This is what he had in 2021. Oh. And you know what? Sometimes people, when they get a urinary tract infection, they have it affects their mental health.
Oh.
So it may, in fact, be part and parcel of this retention thing. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So he's going to urologist tomorrow. We went to all the doctors this last week. We went to the urologist. We went to his general doctor. We went to the neurologist. We've made the rounds. You got something to say? He's just having a little bit of a difficult time responding to things.
Mm.
But yeah, so we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a plan. We got a plan and some ideas about what to do next.
I love the fact that you're a strategist in this regard.
I'm a problem solver. I think I'm more male in that than female. I'm not a good listener when it comes to, as soon as I hear there's a problem, I'm trying to fix it in my head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have to focus on how to fix it, because if I focus on the problem, it's too devastating. I gotta think about how to fix it.
Yeah. Rob.
If I could do like that with technology, I wouldn't need Tom to come over.
Yeah. Rob Chase from the No Exit Experience is watching, and he says he hopes Greg gets well soon.
Yes, thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. So yeah, we're working on it. I think it's a temporary setback. I think we're going to be good.
Mm.
But in the meantime, I don't mind. I mean, I like to come to the house for these things, but if I can't, I always got the phone.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's a good thing. So how do you want to? We got 8 minutes left. How do you want to wrap up the show today? You got something you wanted to mention?
Oh yeah, I've been listening to lectures on Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, really?
I had no idea of some of the things I'm finding out. So he lived at a time in the 1200s when medieval guilds were forming. Are you familiar with the concept of medieval guild?
Yes.
So, the carpenters would all band together and they say, if you want us to work, you got to pay a certain amount. They were unions, essentially, what they were.
Yeah, the Freemasons.
And it happened all throughout Europe. And I did not know this, but the scholars formed a guild.
Really?
Yes. The scholars formed a guild, and they realized, well, we have a lot of power, because if this particular university doesn't pay us what we deserve,
oh wow,
there are other universities that will, sort of like football players do that too. They'll go to the people who want them the most. Right. So what Aquinas would do is, of course, he was taking orders from the Dominican head of the order. He would go from university to university, and everywhere he went, he would devour all the books in their library. So he was the smartest person on earth in terms of, he knew Roman law, he knew all the books in print from the Islamic world, all the books in print from the Jewish world, and of course, all the books in print from the Catholic world. And his students would say that his knowledge was so encyclopedic that if he was giving a lecture and he would give a quote, like he would say, and of course, Marcus Aurelius said so-and-so, he would say, he wouldn't look it up. He would just say, and you'll find that on page 27 of his Meditations.
Wow, he had an eidetic memory. What a memory! And
the students are like, "Holy cow, who is this guy?" And that's why in his book, De Summa Theologica, it isn't so much about the theology of the Catholic Church he's writing. He's writing about everything he reads. So he will say, and of course, in the Jewish tradition, Maimonides thought this, and you will find it in so-and-so of his text. It's an encyclopedia.
Wow.
It's in his, he doesn't realize
Is
it, but
that something? Is that something you covered in when you were in school to become a priest?
I wish.
Yeah, I was
wish.
going to say that would have been really interesting. That
Yeah.
would have been fabulous.
Yeah.
So I I'm interested. I've always been interested in Thomas Aquinas. The little I've heard about him, and believe me, it's way less than what you're telling me now. I found him an interesting study.
hmm And he had this habit of
So what else?
he always wanted to give all the sides of a story. So let's say that they were thinking about, can you get into heaven if you're a virtuous person? He would give all the scholars of the day what they thought, what the Islamists thought, what the Romans thought, things like that. You know, he would essentially provide the encyclopedia. And then, of course, at the end, so he didn't get in trouble with the Catholic Church, he'd say, and now here's the right answer to that, which always happened by coincidence to be what the Catholic Church thought.
Wow. So what essentially he was using the Catholic Church kind of as his patron.
Yes.
So that he could do all the scholarly stuff and not have to worry about how much he had to eat.
Exactly.
And where he had to live.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got from the little I know about him. He was a thinker. He was a thinker, and I love this idea that he was like just under because you in the 13th century you needed to be under the umbrella of some big organization,
right?
You know.
Yep. Like, you know, the German princes all backed Martin Luther.
Right.
You know, whatever you say, Martin, it doesn't matter if the church hates you, we will support you. So he had that, he had it in his camp, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's hard to fathom a world that ran under those ideas. You know, we're so used to having freedom of, you know, you have your own opinion, you know, you don't have to have other people's opinions. And it was different, you know, even, you know, painting and everything was tied up in the religious aspect. And I mean, science, look at Galileo, you know, I mean, everybody, you had to, like, what do you mean the earth isn't the center of the universe? Mm-hmm. How could that be? The Bible tells us, you know, or they assumed.
Yeah. I mean,
and I just in the book I'm listening to now, the Balzac book, they talk about finding fossils of dinosaurs as the animals that were here before the flood.
Interesting.
Because that's how they thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it takes an imagination to put yourself into that other space, that space in history, because they just didn't have as much information. They you know, there was a point in history where you could know everything, like Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
You could know everything. Now forget about it.
Right.
It's just not possible. But, you know, I have to now I'm going to have to look into some Thomas Aquinas, but that's okay. Cause I got a few years left. After I get through the 5 books of Balzac on the New York City library system, I can put that on my list for next. But I also want to read that book that you were talking about, by that guy that wrote the one book, but he wrote it, you know, in many chapters. So send me that. Yeah, send me that. Send me that.
Yeah, I did. It's already in your Facebook Messenger. Good. That's interesting.
All
because,
right. Well, here we got.
Oh, you got to close out the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll close out the show.
Yeah, I got to close the show. Okay, so thank you, Richard, for doing this again. As usual, you're a great asset to the community at large. And thank you, Thomas, for being my son and being a great asset to me at large. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you again next week, hopefully.